Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal.
This is not only a blow of a fresh air of freedom in Nigeria, but also a new phase for the democratic system in the country, where three arms of government were created to enhance administrative convenience. With the bloody coup of 15 January 1966, the dream of the country to have an uninterrupted civilian rule has been shattered.
Let me start from the basic beginning. There might be, but I'm not sure whether any political analyst or based on sheer experience that there's any form of government that is better than democracy. But then it has to be appreciated that democracy is just a word on the page, on pages of books and newspapers. The truth is that there are no two democracies, or there is no two democracies that are the same. We borrow this presidential system from the United States of America. But then the way and the manner democracy is practiced in the United States of America is diametrically opposed to how democracy is practiced in Nigeria.
We must continue to defend and strengthen it. In the coming days, Ekiti and Osun states will hold elections. I urge INEC, security agencies, and all parties to ensure these polls are peaceful and credible.
We are largely practicing democracy in the breach, in the sense that there is no remarkable effort made to establish strong institutions that will support democracy in this country. I'm not saying by no means that efforts is not being made. Efforts are being made, but they are inadequate, and more needs to be done. So, as regards to the basic or fundamental difference between democracy and the military dictatorship, I was too young when the First Republic was upturned or overthrew, but I was mature enough to know democracy under the Second Republic. You see, also there is a remarkable difference between how democracy was practiced during the Second Republic than how it is being practiced today. The basic difference between democracy and dictatorship is the liberal freedoms. Freedom of association, freedom of have to be tried based on rule of law, the freedom of assembly, etc., etc. So under the First Republic, there is no doubt that mistakes have been made. But based on what we read and heard from elders, it was far better than the Second Republic. And also the Second Republic, which I experienced and participated actively, is different from what we call democracy today. Now, going back to the military regime, there is no doubt that military regime governs the country through decrees, and all liberal freedom do not exist.
Well, let me first of all congratulate Nigerians for experiencing for the first time 25 years uninterrupted civilian administration. In the history of our nationhood, starting from independence in 1960, Nigeria have experienced different kind of military intervention into governance, whereby democracy is being suspended. But from 1999 to date, which is today around 25 years, I think Nigeria should celebrate that for having 25 years without military intervention. But however, for me, there's no need for us to celebrate our democracy. What we have to celebrate is civilian administration or civilian rule. Because what we have in Nigeria is electionocracy and not democracy. What do I mean by electionocracy? Our politicians, our political leaders, and even the larger citizens, we are only very much concerned on the election activities in Nigeria, which is an activity that takes place for only 1 or 2 days. But the good governance that follow after the election, nobody seems to have care about it. Politicians will now continue doing as they like until another 4 years round of election. That's when you see. So nobody cares about the impact, nobody cares about the good governance. All what we are celebrating is civilian administration for 25 years and electionocracy and not democracy. That is my understanding.
In view of this, Kebbi State witnessed 4 military administrators since the creation of the state in 1991. Starting from the first military administrator, Patrick Aziza, from 1991 to 1992. Though there was interruption of civilian rule led by Awakar Musa from 1992 to 1993. Colonel Saliu Tunde Bello from 1993 to 1996. John Ova from 1996 to 1998. And Samaila Bature Chama from 1998 to 1999, who eventually handed over power to the second democratically elected leader in Kebbi State. How does such transition impacted the socio-economic and political life of the state?
Now, going back to the military regime, there is no doubt that military regime governs the country through decrees, and all liberal freedom do not exist. But by and large, the military in Nigeria are not as dictatorial as dictator we learned and read about in other part of the country, other part of the world, such as, say, Spain, Italy, Chile, in the Arab world, etc. But then, like everything else in this country, we are not lacking anything in terms of law, in terms of regulation and procedure. But there was no time in this country when laws and regulation and the procedure are breached than what we have today. And when you reduce it to the level of micro level, that is state level, you see the military, as much as they are not elected, they are dictators by all means, but then they are very much conscious of what to do at any given point in time. They listen, they appreciate the fact that they need to learn how to govern. And they knew that any breach of the basic or fundamental regulation of governance will cost them their seat, if not their commission. But unlike the civilians, unfortunately, gradually, civilian governors have turned themselves into the law that produce them. You see, to contest an election, to win an election and to start governing, there are laws and regulations that govern all aspects. But unfortunately, as soon as a civilian governor is sworn in, he behaves as if he conquered the society. He owns the people. In fact, citizens of each and every state in Nigeria are virtually subject to their governors. He has direct access to the public treasury, or he owns the keys to the public treasury. So the problem we have is that when you talk of the basic problem confronting this country, that is corruption and poor leadership. Both civilians, there are evidence to prove that corruption started from the Second Republic, but not in the magnitude and diversity or comprehensiveness of access to looting, conducting corrupt practices in governance than we have today. That's the truth of the matter.
There is higher expectations after the return of democracy in 1999. And since then, Kebbi State witnessed an uninterrupted democratic dispensation and 4 elected governors occupy the seat. Muhammadu Adamu Aliru from 1999 to 2007. Sa'idu Usman na samu ɗakin gari from 2007 to 2015. Atiku Abubakar Bagudu from 2015 to 2023. And the incumbent governor Dr. Nasiru Idris Kauran Gondu, who was elected in 2023.
Okay, since the return of democracy in 1999, that is 25 years ago, there's one major important issue that we benefit is the return of the rule of law. This rule of law has been agitated for a long time by major philosophers, Aristotle, Bacon, and others. And now, with the return of democracy, we have rule of law, where one have the opportunity to really express his or her opinion without being challenged. There are multiple projects carried out at different locations in the country, Kebbi State inclusive. These include road networks, wider road networks, water reticulation. Then we also have a lot of other things, including medical facilities. In Kebbi State, we have seen various projects done by Distinguished Senator Muhammad Adamu Aleru, Alhaji Saidu Usman Nasamu, Senator Abubakar Bakudu, and the current governor, Dr. Nasir Idris Aurangwandu, which are visible, particularly in the area of beautifying our major city in Birnin Kebbi, some housing units in most of the local governments in the state. Well, these are some of the derivable achievements we can see going on in Kebbi State, and we hope this democracy will be sustained so that people will have more dividends of democracy.
Some of the political analysts continue to express their divergent views on the significant impact of democracy or otherwise, particularly on the socio-economic and political sector to the people of Kebbi State.
Generally speaking, we cannot say that there is no any progress as far as returning of the civil rule, like I said, is concerned. Even for the fact that we have this 25 years on interruption of the civil administration is a progress in our nationhood. Secondly, in terms of human rights, Nigerians have experienced a bit human rights much more than during the military regime. We have freedom of speech. Okay, we have three arms of government, which is legislature, the judiciary, and the executive, with every arm of government trying to do its best, even though we are lagging behind for 40 years back where we should have been. But at least it's a step forward in our nationhood. So, unlike during the military, before the coming of before the return of the civilian, we have such freedom of speech, existence of three arms of government, and rule of law are not commonly observed in Nigeria because we are under dictatorship of our military. But for this, I think Nigeria should be happy for this. We are yet to be where we are, but at least we are making progress gradually. Nigerian civil rule, I don't want to use democracy like I said. We always have this issue of imposition of candidate, where this is the reason why I said we don't have democracy. What we have is civil administration, or civilian rule. In a situation whereby the principles of democracy and its own tenet is not being strictly adhered to, and nobody is ready to do that, both the leaders and even the electorate. So how can we call that one a democracy? So imposition of candidate is a very common in Nigerian administration or in Nigerian civilian administration. This is the reason why I said we don't have a democracy. We only have civil rule and not a democracy.
So there is a need for awareness. Actually, some people are propelled to collect money to vote, but others are doing it out of sheer greed and ignorance. So until the mindset of our voters are changed, or is changed, I don't think the future of democracy in Nigeria generally. So now, before I finalize, let us be sincere. As we stand, I don't know what happens tomorrow. And without prejudice to what is happening now, be rest assured, Kebbi State is one, if not the most backward state in this country. But I believe we can do better, and I don't know what tomorrow holds. I'm not criticizing the effort being made presently, But the reality on the ground now, the leadership and followership need to have change of hearts. Nobody is guaranteed us tomorrow. The flow of resources to Kebbi State is not guaranteed by anybody. Anything can happen. But whatever will happen now or in the future, let us make sure we lay a solid foundation, sustainable, make sustainable effort to ensure that the resources we have, we want to reach like Lagos, say Kano, Rivers, Delta, etc. But I think if we can manage the little we have, we can surely make a headway in laying a solid foundation for the progress.
Similarly, agriculture has been described as the mainstay of economic activities in Kebbi State, with the flagging off of diversification program in 2015 through Anchor borrowers. Some of the respondents have debuted that it has yielded impressive results, though not up to the expectations.
Basically, what I would like to say concerning the impact or the positive contributions of democracy towards the agricultural sector is that there is need to improve actually the sector. I think one of the areas that democracy, our leaders should also emphasize looking into is the non-oil sector, which agriculture happens to be one of the non-oil sector. And to improve this sector, we need to adopt new advancement in the agricultural production and value chain improvement. One of the things that we can actually utilize to help farmers, you see, in our rural areas, one of the things is that they should have more inputs, improved inputs that will actually cater for the low soil fertility we have. And secondly, we need more improved machineries. If you can look into some other countries, you see their development in terms of the agricultural sector is far beyond. While it's far beyond here in Nigeria, while you can see that our land and our location here is suitable for almost anything that could be planted in the world. Anything that is edible, anything that is staple food by the whole world, we can plant it and produce it in Nigeria. So what we are saying is, in essence, is that the agricultural sector, or the non-oil sector entirely, has a huge potential towards reshaping the entire economy of Nigeria, and as well Kebbi State specifically. More importantly, I would like to commend the effort of His Excellency Governor Dr. Idris Nasser Kaurangwandu for his commendable effort towards distribution of some improved or modern machineries and inputs. One of it, I know the solar pumping machine, the weeding machine, I think, harvester, and some other things like seeds, fertilizer. This has really shown an effort is really being made towards this sector. But we are still urging that His Excellency should also cater to kindly consider towards improving, towards making Kebbi one of the top states in the agricultural sector in the whole Nigeria.
Does youth in Kebbi State benefit from dividends of democracy and have access to quality education? This is the question some youth in the state responded to.
So we talk about the dividend of democracy. The first thing that we should understand, democracy is a government that gives the masses a free choice of selections of their leaders to determine who are going to be your leaders and representatives. These are determined by the masses. So what we should just ask ourselves as a youth, during the period of selection and the election, have we done up to the tax, or we are paid for the election? Because democracy is a kind of leadership that been determined based on the reciprocal agreements between the masses, that is the electorate, and those that are to be elected. If you cast your vote free based on credibility, accountability, not because you are looking for macaroni, you are looking for indomie, or you are not looking for spaghetti, you are looking for spaghetti. That is from the first instance. We as masses, we collect the dividend of democracy right from the day of election. We have been paid for it. To expect the dividend of democracy, we should exonerate our hands. We should clean ourselves in total from receiving any penny from the politicians. Then we expect them to do what is right. From the elementary level of education, there is primary classes, primary schools. We ask ourselves, do we have qualified teachers? If we do have qualified teachers, are they doing the right things? Are they doing what it takes for our vibrant young generations to have the quality education? At secondary school levels, who are the teachers? What they do to make sure that our younger generation, they benefited from a good and quality education. This is not the handiworks of the government itself. We must come together under some umbrella. We must form what is called a unity and union in progress, so that we can see the right things and we can see the dividend of democracy under the banner of education.
Kebbi State governments continue to provide developmental projects ranging from the construction of roads, rehabilitation of schools, improvement of agricultural activities, and public health sector to enhance dividends of democracy to the people of the state.
It's natural for every Democrat to say that the journey so far has been tremendously good. There is no alternative to democracy since time past. You asked two questions. Number one, the journey so far in Kebbi State, and perhaps the journey so far at the national level. I think it is intertwined in the sense that in Kebbi, for example, since it was created in 1991, it has been a mixture of the good and the not so good. I wouldn't say the bad, but not so good. But if you look at the essence of democracy and the intention of the nation's forefathers who fought for these 25 years of uninterrupted democracy, we want to say that for the nation, for all aspects of our national life, economy, industries, social, whatever. Of course, I agree that there have been challenges. No enterprise that has no challenges. But the most important thing for us, how have we fared in trying to confront and deal with those challenges? We had times at the national level where it was very low. We have had times where it was perceived to be okay by a number of people. But for me, I would say that the journey has been worth it. If you look at the nature of military regimes that we've had in this country, we wouldn't want to think twice before you say democracy is the best form of government. And I want to believe that every Nigerian is now aligned to the ethos and ethics of democracy and what it has brought to our nation in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of our relationship with one another regionally, and all that.
Other government functionaries highlighted on the journey so far, with much concentration on the effort made by the incumbent Governor Dr. Nasiru Idris Kaurangondo on security, welfare of the poor, and anticipated brighter future for Kebbi State.
Toyota Hilux and 30 motorcycles. The other time, we'll also give about 8 Toyota Hilux, all of them to the military. Apart from the one that I distributed when I came as a governor, I distributed 50.
It's indeed an honor for me to be here to come and appreciate all the laudable things you've done for us, all the security forces, members of the armed forces. I just recently, not too long ago, we donated our drones Give us radios, vehicles, motorcycles.
And he has also proved that in the next 3 years, Kebbi is going to have the best governor in history completely. Just take a look at the sectors that have been touched. Also look at the development, how it's been spread. I wouldn't want to believe that we are concentrating only on the state capital. Well, of course we are, and for obvious reasons. The state capital is the nucleus of every Kebian, every Kebi man and woman, regardless of where he comes within, is worried, has been worried about the dilapidation, the decay, and sometimes the total absence of critical infrastructure in Kebbi, the state capital, of course. Whenever I have reasons or platforms like this, I like talking directly to the people of Kebbi State. We have the best governor in the history of Kebbi State. We have all seen what he has done under Wanya. Many people have rightly said what he has achieved in Wanya was not achieved in 8 years of some administrations. So I think we have the best governor in history. What he requires from us is our continued cooperation, continued praise for him, continued understanding, continued support in order for him to continue to churn out the infrastructure we've been crying for.
Democracy Day, which has been celebrated on the 29th May of every year, was moved to 12th June of every year by former President Muhammadu Buhari on 6 June 2018.